Welcome to another episode of Getting There and Giving Back, the show that talks to high achievers about where they are, how they got there, and what they're doing to give back. My guest today started off in traditional media before deciding to do something different. He founded Kombucha on Tap and started distributing kombucha on tap to businesses and homes. He has since expanded and now also offers several kinds of coffee and even cold pressed juices. Please welcome our guest for this episode, Jared Gustafson. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. I really look forward to this and appreciate the opportunity.
I'm glad to have you on. I feel like we're already kindred spirits because we both escaped from traditional media. What was your background there before we get into kombucha?
So I did radio going through college. I had a few people that said, hey, you should look into radio. And so I looked into radio and I did radio broadcasting for a number of years and found out I really didn't like talking about myself that much or, talking into a microphone. I'm much more of a social person and found out that radio is much more of an introverted type of media. So I went into television after that, started doing field producing, videography for outdoor channel television, and did that for 9.5 years, traveled to 46 of the 50 states and some international destinations, filming and producing hunting, fishing, and shooting sports TV.
What's the most underrated state? What state is amazingly cool and no one knows it?
Yeah. I don't know if there was one that was underrated and nobody knows it. They're all different. Every time I got on an airplane, I was thrilled to go back to San Diego because I do love it so much and do find that to be home. I don't have a good answer for that because they all have their uniqueness to it. But and what really drew me and makes me want to go back to a place is the people. Utah has beautiful landscapes, so many national parks and monuments and federal lands there that are just so unique and diversified in landscape. But it's the people that drew me and made me want to go back and visit these places in more depth, not the beauty of the objects there.
Very nice. All right. So you're traveling the country, you're working in media. What makes you wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm going into the kombucha business?
So I met a girl.
Yes.
And I had never had kombucha before. I needed to go up to Bend, Oregon for a business trip, and she used to be a TV news anchor in Bend. So she wanted to go with me so that she could visit friends while I was working. And while I was working, she was doing her thing, and she saw kombucha in many of the places that she visited with friends, and it was on tap, and she had never seen it available on tap in Southern California. I had the opportunity to go out to a couple of these places with her in between work shifts and experience the beverage. She would tell me what it was. And I've always lived a very healthy, active lifestyle. So I wanted to, thought this beverage, tastes good and does good things for me. So let's see what this is. And then she really posed the question saying, hey, I've never seen this available in Southern California on tap. I was getting towards the tail end of my career with Outdoor Channel. They were also moving from Southern California to Denver, Colorado. And I had just met a girl and everything seemed to be going really good with the relationship. So I thought, well, let's do some research on this and see if there's any legs to it. And sure enough, January 2014, we launched Kombucha on Tap. Our company is older than my marriage with Deanne.
Wow. Very cool. We probably shouldn't go too much further while still assuming that everyone knows what kombucha is, because it has gotten very well known and very mainstream, but there are still probably a few people watching that are like, I see that at the store and I'm not quite sure what it even is. So what is kombucha?
Sure. So kombucha is a fermented tea full of probiotics, live-active enzymes, amino acids, and complex vitamins and minerals. It's low sugar, low calorie, naturally bubbly beverage that's good for you because of all the probiotics and enzymes in it.
It's that gut health we keep hearing so much about. It's a natural way to deal with that, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, gut health. There's been lots of studies more recently done, and kombucha is a beverage that has not had a whole lot of peer review studies. So some of the claims are unsubstantiated from the FDA, but I have the fortune to be able to talk to so many people who have their own stories to share about how eating a healthy diet, including kombucha, to be able to create a good gut flora has really significantly impacted their life in a positive way and taken away a lot of the ailments from Crohn's disease to ulcerative colitis. I'm butchering the name, I'm sure, on that. Some autoimmune diseases. So there's been a lot of personal connection with that, which then takes back, okay, there's something to this. It's not just snake oil that I'm trying to sling out here. So it really works well. And I'm probably, between me and GT Dave, we're probably the two top consumers. I probably drink at least 64 ounces a day just because I have it readily available on our kegerator here in the office.
Right.
And, it hasn't had any bad effects for me yet, except for, I just have to go to the bathroom every now and then too. I can make more room.
Need to do that. Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you, I've watched this grow because my wife is a super user. She loves kombucha. And I remember the days when she would say, make sure you get me a bottle of kombucha. I'd go to that section of the store and there were 4 choices. Now, I mean, it's gotten very, very big. There are a lot of flavors. There are a lot of companies, but the on tap thing is a very unique niche. That's what you saw is I can go into restaurants, coffee shops, yoga studios, and I can put up these amazing taps. Now, what are the advantages to having it on tap?
So on the tap side of things, it's a fresher, smoother flavor over the bottle side of things. We think it probably has to do with the volumes of the beverage sitting there being excited with its other little bacteria partners, at least on the kombucha side of things. And then on the coffee and tea side of things, you get the nitro effects. You can have that really cool kind of Guinness pour effect on the nitro coffee side of things, as well as, you've got a wide variety of things for employees to be able to have. One of the advantages for like a business to be able to have it, it's the best water cooler experience you can have. It's fun, it's interactive, you can mix and match flavors. So it really creates a really inviting atmosphere for people to be able to enjoy.
Right. So when you say this is for any business, it's not just for what you think of, a coffee shop or like I said, a yoga studio. You can be a CPA and just have this for your employees in the break room.
Yep, exactly. We have law offices, we have biomedical facilities, manufacturing companies, marketing companies, media companies. We have, everything under the sun for people that just want to enjoy it and want to provide something fun and different for their employee base, as well as on the retail side of things for the general consumer to be able to come in, whether it's a sit-down restaurant, a juice and smoothie shop, a yoga studio. So the health benefits are immense with it, and that's one of the draws. The fun side of things is immense, but as well as there's a significant population of non-drinkers now. So they get to have that fun experience of something frothy coming out of the tap, but it's non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we always like talking about on this show is how each company is giving back. Your whole business model is giving back to people's health, to employee health, because if you put that in a break room, it's an alternative to a cup-o noodle soup, a Hot Pocket. I mean, you don't come out with a lot of healthy things in the average break room in a business. So you're spreading a good experience and a big upgrade in healthy choices.
Absolutely. One of our mottos is to make the world a happier, healthier place.
I love that. And tell me about the home use. What do you set it up like one of those in-home water coolers, or what are you setting up in people's homes?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, we have kegerators in lots of people's homes, whether it's delivered or they come and pick up kegs from us. Some of them have them built into backyard patios, or they just have it sitting in their home in the corner. So, it takes 24 inches by 25 inches of space, so 2 feet by just over 2 feet. And you can have 2 different products on tap there if you wanted to. It's great for the whole family. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter, and both of them walk up to the kegerator and hold their cup up there because they'd like to get a glass. And if I have a glass sitting on the table, it's usually empty by the time I get back to it if I leave it unattended, just because they'll consume it so much. So, for a couple thirsty people in a home, it's much more cost effective to be able to get it on tap as well. Sure, you have the initial expense of the kegerator, which we lease those as well to be able to make it more cost effective, but you don't have as much waste because you're not having to throw away as many bottles. A keg for many of our manufacturers is also infinitely reusable. So it goes back into its life cycle from extending instead of a single-use glass bottle or aluminum can. So there's a lot of great benefits, as well as there's keg exclusive flavors for you to be able to enjoy as well on all the different supplies: coffee, tea, kombucha, et cetera. There's some suppliers that only make kegged product, so you wouldn't be able to find it anywhere else.
Well, I agree with all those things, and I'm going to add a couple of things to your pitch. It is convenience. It's a convenience booster, and it's a space booster, because these drinks usually come in individual bottles of this thick glass. They're huge bottles, and they need to stay in the refrigerator, right? You can't just put them in the pantry and then, replace one or two at a time. So you don't want to buy more than a few at a time. So you're always running to the store to get more. And it makes total sense to me. I can't, I totally get it. That's awesome.
Well, and one of the things too is that, the keg lasts about 4 months. So even if you have one person consuming it, each keg is about 55 12-ounce pours. So one person could easily go through a keg by themselves over the course of 55 days if they only drink one glass a day. But most people are going to drink, because of the convenience side, they're going to drink multiple glasses. So they'll go through that significantly faster.
Well, I imagine this is a growing market, because so many of the things that people used to just fall back on, having a diet cola at lunch, or like so many people are maybe not becoming health freaks, but at least going away from those obviously bad choices. So healthier alternatives, is this category just growing really rapidly?
It is, especially as the kombucha category grows rapidly. It's going gangbusters. As you mentioned early on here, is that you used to go to a store and you'd see maybe 4 different flavors on the shelf, and now you go in and you have 8 to 12 foot cold cases just jam packed with all the different brands and flavor profiles there. So from that perspective, it's going really huge. Interesting thing as the ebb and flow of society goes, and especially with what's going on with the COVID right now, is health and wellness is at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. So that has certainly helped boost it significantly.
And I know this from my deep and exhaustive research watching Shark Tank, but the standard business category is super competitive, because you're looking for that little bit of space on the store shelves. But what you're doing is you're going into a yoga spot that doesn't otherwise sell drinks, or a breakfast place that they have room for a couple of kegs. So you're going to a very competitive industry, but you've created your own lane that's pretty widely available, right?
100%. Yep, that's exactly right. Almost every place has if they serve alcohol, they have a slow moving beer, or, if it's a juice and smoothie place, it provides another fun opportunity for them to be able to generate revenue as well. And it's the fun side of things, as well as the nice refreshing side of things. It is a smoother, fresher flavor on draft.
Well, if you're getting as sold on this idea as I am, and you want to add some of these cool taps to your business, or the break room at your work, or your yoga studio, or your spin cycle place, or your home, kombuchaontap.net is the website to go find out more information. That's kombuchaontap.net. And as I said, you're already giving back by upgrading. There's not too many beverages. I mean, even fruit juice now, we're being told it's loaded with sugar. Don't drink that. Like, other than water and matcha tea, there aren't a whole lot of things you can have with your lunch that are good for you, much less not bad for you. So you're already helping people by putting more of that goodness into the world. But you've done things as a company as well. Some of them have been kind of held off by COVID for a while. But tell me what you and your employees have done to give back.
Yeah, so giving back to our community is a huge part of our company culture as well. And so one of the things that we did just up until COVID happening was every month we would pick a different charity, usually a different soup kitchen. Once a month we would do a different charity event, and usually it was going back and volunteering at a soup kitchen to be able to give meals to the homeless. It worked out convenient for our work schedules, since usually we're working during the day, and being able to feed people in the evening time worked out well from that. But then we also done beach cleanups and different community involvements in that fashion as well.
That's really cool. And talk about this industry, because you're in a small niche of a big industry. Are there any ways you've given back to your industry?
Sure. On the kombucha side of things specifically, I'm the chairman for the Draft Systems Committee with Kombucha Brewers International, the worldwide trade organization for kombucha. And then on the coffee side of things, or on the industry-wide as well as doing consulting with a lot of different companies to be able to help them when they're looking to get started with their draft programs.
Very nice. Well, you're doing great work. It's exciting to hear what you're up to, and I think we'll be sending some people your way. Again, it's kombuchaontap.net. Now we end each episode with three pretty easy questions. There you go. Get the logo on there. What's the best advice you were ever given?
The best advice I was ever given was to start a independent retirement account at the age of 16.
Oh, I wish someone told me to do that.
So I started an IRA at the age of 16, and then I believe I changed that over to a Roth IRA a couple years later once that became available.
Note to self: tell my kids to do that when they're 16.
Well, here's a tidbit for the people out there. Once your kid turns 3, you can provide them allowance, and then you can report that as taxable income, and you can start an IRA for them starting at the age of 3. Consult your tax person after that, but then you just have to submit taxes for them. But you can start an IRA for them at the age of starting 3.
I only wish you told me that about 6 years ago. I've lost years already.
They're not too young though. They're not too old.
No,
I mean,
no, not at all. They're still young enough where it would make a huge impact to get them going. Well, that was awesome advice. What's your favorite book of all time?
My favorite book of all time, Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand.
Okay, very nice. And yes. I think this last one's going to be an easy one for you. What is one habit or routine that you would recommend to other people?
Exercise every single day.
Good for you. You could have just said drink kombucha and got one last plug in.
Health and wellness is such a big, but for me especially, and for the people that I know that do this practice, it sets your mindset up for positivity and creativity every single day. You can't have a bad day if your body feels invigorated after a good exercise routine.
I love it. The website, one more time, is kombuchaontap.net. Thanks for joining me, man. That was fun.
Great. Thank you for having us.